When you're sleep deprived, is it better to prioritize sleep or exercise? Now, this one's really case dependent. So, if you've had one night where you just had a rubbish night's sleep and you're choosing whether to lie in or to do the exercise, if it's just one night, I would probably just get up, get the exercise done, and you'll feel so much better for doing it. And it will actually give you energy for the rest of the day. And I think this is one thing that I wish more people would understand actually, is that exercise gives us energy. It's not taking anything away. It's actually it's giving us energy. And particularly with our workouts as well, being 20 minutes, quick 20 minutes, really effective. We pack in a lot into that 20 minutes, and it just makes you feel so fantastic for the rest of the day and really helps to improve energy as well. If you are chronically sleep deprived and you're really struggling with sleep, I'd be then wanting to dig a little bit deeper and find out what's going on. So, is it perimenopause? Is it stresses that are going on in your life right now? Is it the fact that you've got young children? So I'd be looking at why this is happening, why this has been going on. And also, what have you done earlier on that week? Say it's, I don't know, a Friday, and you're chronically sleep deprived at the moment. You've been doing well with your exercise. You've been training, you've trained 3 times this week so far, and you're debating about whether to get up and do an early class, even though you've already trained 3 times, and you could do that class later on the week. You could do it later on that day, or you could do it on Saturday and Sunday. Then maybe try and claw back some of that sleep, perhaps. But it depends on what you've already done as well. The thing is, sleep is the foundation. That's actually where our bodies recover as well. Our bodies and our brain recovers in our sleep. But with sleep, we also have to really put it into context, because it can be one of those things that is really largely out of our control. For example, hormonally, if you're going through the perimenopause, there's only so much we can do sometimes to help our sleep. But if we're going to get a cortisol spike in the middle of the night, or hot flushes that are spiking in the middle of the night, it can be really, really tricky. It can be tricky to get back to sleep. You can feel really wide awake and it's the middle of the night, and then the next day feel absolutely exhausted. Therefore, I'd argue that getting into a regular routine where we're exercising, wherever that is in your day, maybe, push it into the day if that's possible. Or if it's only possible to do it in the morning, do it in the morning, and getting into a regular routine where we're doing it at the same time every day for 2 or 3 weeks. I'd argue that actually then we'll be getting deeper sleep. And then even if, we're not getting all the hours, then we're getting deeper sleep and feel more restored from that. And for some people, doing the exercise in the evening can really disrupt their sleep. So it's about maybe digging a little bit deeper on this. So it really, really does depend on the week you've had, what you're currently doing, and how and why this has come about as well. If you're really, really stressed at the moment and wondering whether to sleep for longer, or each day and kind of forget the exercise until this stressful period is finished, like, say, I don't know, something stressful going on at work, and you've got a couple of weeks of stress, I'd absolutely be exercising through that 100%, because it's going to help you sleep better and it's going to help you manage your stress better as well. So really context dependent, and I hope that helps a little bit. My husband told me that he read a while ago you shouldn't do weight straight after waking up, as it could harm your back. Something to do with the way your back expands overnight. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about that? Yeah, of course, absolutely. And it's one of those things where, yes, there's an element of truth, but it can get blown out of proportion. So when we sleep, there isn't any compression on the spine, and the spinal discs are going to pull fluid. So this is why, you can be a little bit taller in the morning, literally. But as the day goes on, that kind of, that disappears, and we're getting that compression on the spine through standing up, through sitting, etc. But in terms of, should you do weight straight after waking up? Not a problem. It's not, as long as you're doing a warm up, it's not a problem. Now, where it might be a cause for concern is if you're jumping up, getting straight out of bed, not doing a warm up, and you're doing things where you're leaning forward, so you've got that forward flexion with really heavy weights. That would be the only, so say you're a bodybuilder and you decide for whatever reason you're not going to do a warm up, you're going to do some really heavy deadlifts, then I'd be thinking, maybe that bodybuilder should do a proper warm up. So in terms of what we do, Generally speaking, we mainly do lower weights, higher repetition. We do more muscular endurance, do things like stronger, and we tap into a bit more hypertrophy on like upper body, lower body, and in stronger as the weeks go on as well. We do a bit of progressive overload, but mainly in like our upper or lower body. But the weights that we're lifting, I wouldn't be concerned. And also, we do proper warm ups. We make sure that we warm up the body before we get going. It's absolutely fine to wake up and do weights straight away without warm ups. But no, it's absolutely fine. Would you say with the 70-30 eating rule that it's okay to have an ice cream at the end of the day if all the meals are pretty healthy and good? Should the 30% not really be regular treats? So the 30% is, yeah, you can absolutely have an ice cream whenever. 70-30 is more of like a lifestyle and more of a way of thinking about food as opposed to trying to calculate exactly 70%, 30%. It's like a rough way of thinking about food. And the idea is 70% of the time we're eating foods that are going to give our bodies what it needs. Think about what our body needs. It needs high quality protein, it needs nutrients, it needs minerals, it needs vitamins, it needs all sorts. Calcium, magnesium, potassium, slow release carbohydrates. Think about everything that the body needs. So we want good sources of that. Nutrient dense foods is what I'm trying to say. 70% of the time. And 30% a little bit of what we want. And they're going to be the less nutrient dense foods. They're going to be things that are probably ultra processed. They're going to be things like the pizza, the ice cream, the wine, the chocolate, the biscuits, things that we have that are good for the soul, but aren't necessarily really adding lots of nutrition or lots of nutrition to the body. So it's more of a way of thinking that really our body isn't a bin and we want to put good fuel into our body so that we get good output, so that our energy is good, so that we are productive, so that we're happy, so that we feel good in ourselves, so our digestion is good, so our skin is glowing. So we want to be thinking about what we're mainly putting into our body, but also the 30% is, you know what? Have a bit of what you want as well. We only live once and we're not here to cut everything out because that's also a really unhealthy way of thinking and living as well. So I hope that kind of explains things. But yeah, if you've had a day where actually you've eaten really highly nutrient dense foods all throughout the day, you fancy a bit of ice cream, yeah, why not?